Shannon Leftwich, and I'm an instructional designer at Columbia College Chicago Online. So we are kind of the continuing education school within Columbia College. I develop new courses with subject matter experts. I work on revisions to existing courses, developing new technologies or implementing new technologies within Canvas, different LTIs and things like that.
At Columbia, is there a project management software that they use that they have set up already, or?
So we're kind of all over the place. We use Trello for course development, which is a really basic like Kanban board type program. And then I personally prefer Asana. So I'm trying to move people into that. And then our video production team uses Airtable, which is kind of like a fancy Excel spreadsheet.
I'm sorry, which part uses Airtable?
The video production team.
And is there a project manager for the whole team? How many people are in your department?
Yeah, we're pretty small. I think there's like 8 of us. So we definitely do not have our own project manager. It's up to each individual person to manage their own projects. And I think that works for us because we are pretty small and we only have about 20 courses right now. If we were eventually to become more large scale, like a Southern New Hampshire University or something, where they have hundreds of courses, then we would definitely want to hire a full-time PM.
Right. And so does anyone else but yourself look at these project management, the software, the layout to see where you're at? Does your supervisor, check that instead of asking you, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits to using a project management tool is that anyone can just go in and see where a project is at any time. And so in that sense, it's becomes an accountability tool, both for myself and for anyone else who wants to see the status of something.
Just take us through how you would start a project and when you would start the project management, when would you implement that process?
So if we're building out a new course, for example, first we would develop sort of the timeline for the project. So if we're looking to launch the course by the June term or whatever, we need to sort of build it backwards from there and figure out how much time we have. Ideally, we go with a 16-week timeline, and then we'll start to build that into Trello and just sort of plug in the dates and the different checkpoints that we need to hit. And it also depends on the subject matter expert if they have a specific timeline or time frame that they're working with, or if they're not local and we need them to come in to shoot videos and stuff, we have to sort of work around their schedule. I think we've given every subject matter expert the option to we add them to the Trello board and everything. In my experience, nobody uses it. And I think that's okay because, me as the ID, I am sort of the project manager, so I don't necessarily want someone else going in and messing with stuff, but it would be helpful.
Does your office have a set communication plan or the best way people like to communicate, or do you communicate with different people differently based on their preference?
Yeah, so as an internal team, we have a weekly status meeting, and that's really helpful to get feedback. A lot of times I'll show like, I built out, this module or this page. What do you guys think? And then also to escalate issues if we're running behind or if a subject matter expert isn't responding to me, then that's a good chance for me to sort of escalate that. And with the subject matter expert, we also have weekly development meetings. But it really does, the communication is very much adapted to their style. So if they like email or text or whatever.
So inside the office, you're mostly having standing meetings or conference room meetings, or?
Yeah, yeah. And then we also, I mean, we email, I would say we use Slack quite a bit too, for sort of day-to-day communication.
Do you belong to any organizations that students should be a part of in the IB world that you found useful or helpful?
Yeah, a lot of them are not free, unfortunately. So if you are working for an institution, a lot of times institutions will get sort of licenses. So that's how I joined EDUCAUSE, like OLC. Quality Matters is a really good one for like evaluation stuff.
Okay.
Um,
And do you use them as you're working on projects, or you use them to find out what's going on in the industry or
More so the
trends, or?
latter. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I
Really?
yeah get sort of those email blasts for ID groups within those organizations that you can subscribe to, and that's helpful because people post different topics and sometimes they're relevant. Sometimes I have something to add, so it's a good community building as well.
Our class, we were looking at how they're sort of built similarly. You know, they're structured, they're systematic, so they kind of nicely go hand in hand. But do you have any words of wisdom or thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, be adaptable and try to understand when and why processes are working or why they're not working. Like, don't just kind of go along with it if you know that it's not working well. Don't be afraid to kind of take a step back and say, how can we improve this process? So that you're not sort of in that constant state of like catching up or crisis, basically. And just communicating with all of your stakeholders, whether that be your internal team and your external people that you work with, just making sure everyone's on the same page so that you don't have any miscommunication. I think that's probably the biggest issue that people run into is just miscommunication.